Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel outside the target demographic. Today I wanted to talk to you about a maintenance interval that a lot of people don't consider, and that is the wheel alignment. So let's get started. In some conversations with a coworker who has been on the earth longer than me, the idea of getting a wheel alignment done on my 6-year-old Subaru Forester came up. And this is something I don't largely consider. Why would you need a wheel alignment if things aren't out of spec, if things aren't jumping curves and stuff like that? But as it turns out, it did actually make a pretty large difference, and it wasn't even that expensive to boot. So he had offered that he goes to Firestone. And Firestone on their website for, I think it's $220 with possibly a $20 coupon, which is what I ended up using. So for the sum of $200, did a all four wheel alignment. With an all-wheel drive Subaru, that can make more of a difference than a front-wheel drive car. And with the numerous potholes in the Cleveland area, as well as the all four seasons that we get, with radical temperature swings from morning to evenings, it kind of made sense that after 80,000 miles, I would maybe go ahead and get that wheel alignment done. So I wanted to share with you that it's not even that expensive, $200 at Firestone. When I looked up online the average cost of a wheel alignment for one axle, it's usually $150 to $200 from what the internet says. Your mileage may vary. But for $200, Firestone, which apparently you could go to any state, this is a lifelong service interval warranty, I suppose, and it's linked to, I believe, your VIN number. So you could drive your car out of state, across the states, different time zone, whatever, and be able to get your wheels aligned if you hit something on the way there, or if you're pulling a trailer and you tend to be drifting one way or the other. So something to consider, and it's not even that expensive. It took about a half hour out of my day to get that done. So that was my recommendation to you. What they ended up doing is here. I'll post some of the findings. I believe there were, and I'm not looking at the screen, so I believe there are 7 or 8 angles that were out of tolerance. And basically what they're going to be doing is making sure that all four wheels are pointing in the same direction, and you can account for a angle this way, the tires, your front wheel being pointed this way and that way, and all of them pointing in the same direction. Boo, boo, boo. Hi, Nara. So what they do is they put it up on a rack, and they put it up on like a laser pointer rig, and they make sure that all the wheels are pointing in the same direction. Let's consider you have a horse-drawn carriage. You have 2 horses pulling that carriage. If both horses are walking in exactly the same direction, aces. You're probably going to get to that place faster, and those horses are going to be less exhausted. Let's take the inverse of that. We have a horse walking completely forward and another horse walking at like a 10-degree angle. Well, those 2 horses are going to be fighting each other and needing corrective inputs from the reins in order to keep the carriage going forward. So you're losing efficiencies, you're doing more wear and tear, you're introducing more sound and vibrations and stuff like that into your drive. Another thing that I noticed is it is actually quieter. And yes, I do notice, because as some of you who have been to my channel before know, I've spent hundreds of dollars sound deadening this car. So I am acutely aware of the noises it makes. But the main reason I went ahead and did it is I want to show you this. So while I'm driving forward, my steering wheel used to be like this. And you can tell the angle I'm getting at if that red car is at noon. The top of my steering wheel, the middle of my steering wheel, was pointing at like 11:45. So I knew my steering wheel was not zeroed, shall we say. It should have been like this, not like this. And that's apparently indicative of some of the symptoms you could have by not having your wheels aligned. So again, it costs $200. You're going to have less wear and tear. You're going to have less issues. I've had both wheel bearings, rear wheel bearings replaced in the 6 years that I've owned this car. It is the only repairs that I've needed to do in addition to getting the air conditioning recharged. So with that and the wheel alignment, I just broke $1,100 in repairs. So we have, I believe, 86,000 miles on the clock. Side note tangent. Here we go. A couple of people at work. Well, I lease a car because leasing a car means I don't have to worry about repairs. Yeah, with a 3-year lease, you shouldn't have to worry about repairs. What's going to break in 3 years? So we are at 86,000 miles on this car. We are at 6 years of ownership on this car, and I've replaced 2 wheel bearings and had my air conditioning recharged. I think it was $400 for the first wheel bearing, $450 for the second one, and $180 for the air conditioning recharge. And none of those were failures. They were things that I would like to get changed. Again, as someone who's trying to remove noise from his car, having 2 howling wheel bearings would not be ideal. But nothing catastrophic, nothing cataclysmic, nothing drivetrain related, or blown head gaskets or anything like that. So data point of 1 for me, the Subaru is incredibly reliable, but we've also had them in the family for a while, and all the maintenance can be done in your driveway and or relatively cheap, says I. But back to the wheel alignment thing. Definitely worth the price, especially if you have an all-wheel drive car. Now you have power going to all 4 wheels, and if one of them is out of alignment, it's going to start dorking up the rest of them, and the all-wheel drive system is mechanical, so everything has to be evenly balanced. All the drive shafts are balanced, and boo. If one of your angles is off by even a small amount, call it a 3% decrease in efficiency, that's going to add up, which leads me to the other selling point here is one would imagine that how could your fuel efficiency be affected by things being off by several degrees? It turns out quite a bit. So as a nerd, I do keep track of my fuel efficiency, and I recommend you do as well. There are a number of apps that you can use that would do it. You log the mileage and how many gallons you get every time you fill up. Do I need to know that information? No. Am I eco-boxing this station wagon? No. But how do I know something's going wrong with my engine if I'm not logging the mileage? How do I know if I have blown head gaskets or loose rings or something like that? If I'm tracking my fuel efficiency and all of a sudden it drops by 7 miles a gallon, something's probably up, right? And if that happens once, okay, it could have been a cold snap, it could have been pulling a trailer, there could be reasons for it. But if it constantly stays down, that could become an issue. So this is an easy way for you to keep up with the maintenance, I suppose, keep up with the condition of your engine without having to crack it open and spend thousands of dollars to have the privilege of cracking it open. So all that to say, there was a pretty decent fuel efficiency jump. Again, I don't have it in front of me because I'm talking to my phone, not using it, but I think it was a 5% bump. That's not small. Show me an engineer that would scoff at getting a 5% increase in anything, an engine, lift from an airplane wing, all these things. As I said, it could have been a fluke. It could have been a one-time thing, but it turns out it wasn't. It was a 2-time thing. So I believe the first time, the first fill up after the alignment was a 5% increase, and the second one was a 7%. Again, you're looking at the screen, so ironically, you know better than I do. But you will receive a fuel efficiency bump if your alignments are off. Once they're corrected, you're going to see that fuel efficiency increase. Is that going to pay for your alignment? No. Eventually, over time, possibly, maybe. But the other way to think of it too is $200 is kind of steep, right? Sure. But let's say you keep the car for 10 years. If you paid $200 and you get the alignment for free for the next 9 years, then you're paying $20 a year to get your wheels aligned. Getting that fuel efficiency increase, getting the lack of wear and tear in your vehicle, the lack of the steering wheel wanting to pull you off the road into a guardrail, into a ditch, making sure everything's aligned before winter when things are already sketchy enough. The last thing you need is a vehicle trying to go that way and also at the same time that way. So the longer you use the lifetime service, the more it's going to pay for itself. The cheaper, essentially, it's going to be for you to have used that service. And again, my OCD being what it is, I like my steering wheel to actually be pointing straight when I'm actually going straight. So that's kind of the largest indicator to me that something needed to be done. And then, again, based on all this stuff, again, data point of Firestone telling me that they actually did what they did, right? Who's to say that these numbers aren't correct? But we're going to take it at face value. They corrected 7 different angles that were out of spec. Now, you'll notice 2 of them haven't been adjusted, and one of them actually swung maybe a little bit wider, as I recall, out of spec. But that's the one angle that I don't think Subaru allows you to adjust. And again, by having the 2 rear wheel bearings done, I'm pretty sure they're press in. But you can't tell me wailing and whacking and hammering and jackhammering and air gunning on that wheel bearing, at very least to get it out and get it in and torque it to spec, didn't fundamentally adjust some of the things back there. So 3,600 pound car, 86,000 miles, all the potholes we have around here and whatnot, it made sense to get it done, and it wasn't even that expensive to do it. So that's going to be my recommendation for you in this video, is look into Firestone and or other services in your area that allows you a lifetime service plan where you could just bring it in, get it done. They'll give you the printout, proof of things that they did, and you're going to notice at least a visual change here. But the car seemed quieter, and it arguably seemed more nimble, which is weird. Again, being I just got the thing done, of course, I was a little more aware of possible changes, but I maintain that the car handled a little better and handled a little more nimbly. It took less inputs from the steering wheel to get the car to do what I wanted to, which I suppose would make sense. If all 4 wheels are pointing in 4 different directions, then yeah, if you get everything pointing in the same direction, you're going to be able to control the car a little bit better with a little bit smaller inputs to get the same result, which is back to that whole efficiency thing. So I'm rambling now. That's what I had for you. This is Outside the Target Demographic. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Any questions, comments, concerns you have in experience with getting wheels aligned? Am I making this up? Am I on the placebo effect? Or have you guys had positive experiences with that? Go ahead and leave that in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next video.